You can grow a full harvest of potatoes with almost no money, even if all you have is a small space, a few old containers, and a couple of potatoes from your kitchen. Sounds simple, right? That's because it truly is. Right now, food prices keep going up, and many families are feeling the pressure every time they visit the store. But what if I told you that one small step, just planting a few potatoes, could turn into pounds of food right at home? Potatoes are one of the easiest crops to grow in America. They don't need fancy tools, they don't need perfect soil, and they don't need a lot of water if you do it the right way. In fact, a single potato can grow into several more, and a small space like a backyard corner, a bucket, or even a balcony can produce enough to make a real difference. Many beginners think farming is hard, but the truth is, potatoes grow in a very natural and forgiving way. With simple steps like cutting seed pieces, giving them sunlight, and watering only when needed, you can get a strong and healthy crop without spending much at all. In this video, I'm going to show you 5 simple and low-cost ways to grow potatoes step by step, using methods that work for anyone, whether you have land or not. Each method solves a real problem people face today, like lack of space, high costs, or limited water. If you stay with me until the end, you'll see how easy it is to turn small efforts into a steady food supply. And if you find value in this, don't forget to like and subscribe, because simple knowledge like this can truly change the way you live. Most folks think you need a big farm to grow potatoes, but truth is, a small patch in your backyard can do just fine. All you really need is a spot that gets good sunlight about 6 hours a day and soil that you can loosen with simple tools. You don't need anything fancy. A shovel, a hoe, or even a strong stick can help break the ground. Potatoes like soil that is soft, not hard, so their roots can grow easy and spread out. Now, here's where it gets real simple. Take a few potatoes from your kitchen, the kind that have small eyes or sprouts on them. Cut them into pieces, making sure each piece has at least one eye. Let those pieces sit out for a day or two so the cut side dries a bit. This helps stop them from rotting once they go into the soil. Then plant each piece about 3 to 4 inches deep, with about a foot of space between each one. If you plant them too close, they fight for space. Too deep, and they take longer to grow. Water them lightly after planting, and then just keep the soil a little moist, not soaked. A common mistake folks make is watering too much. Potatoes don't like wet feet. If the soil feels dry when you touch it, then it's time to water. If it still feels damp, leave it be. Over time, as the plants grow taller, you can gently pile a bit of soil around the base. This helps protect the growing potatoes under the ground. Even a small row, maybe 10 feet long, can give you several pounds of potatoes if you care for it right. That's a lot of food from a small space. The best part is, once you see those green plants come up, you start to feel something change. It's not just about growing food anymore. It's about knowing you can take care of yourself, one small step at a time. Now, maybe you don't have a backyard at all, and that's a real problem for many folks these days. People live in small homes, apartments, or places where the ground just isn't theirs to use. But that doesn't mean you can't grow potatoes. Truth is, you can grow them just fine in a bucket, a bag, or even an old barrel. You don't need land. You just need something that can hold soil and let water drain out. Start by finding a container. It can be a plastic bucket, a feed sack, a storage bin, or anything similar. Make sure it has holes at the bottom so extra water can escape. If water sits inside, the potatoes can rot. That's one of the biggest mistakes beginners make. Once your container's ready, add about 4 inches of soil at the bottom. You don't need expensive soil either. You can mix regular dirt with compost or even old plant matter to keep it rich and loose. Next, place your potato pieces, the same way as before, with the eyes facing up. Cover them with a few inches of soil and give them a little water. Now here's the trick that makes container growing special. As the plant starts to grow taller, you keep adding more soil around the stem, a little at a time. This is called layering, and it helps the plant grow more potatoes along the buried stem. It's a simple way to get more food from the same plant without needing more space. Keep your container in a place where it gets good sunlight, like a balcony, doorstep, or near a window that gets strong light. Check the soil with your hand every few days. If the top feels dry, give it some water. If it still feels damp, wait a bit longer. One container can give you several good potatoes, and if you use a few containers, that adds up fast. What's powerful about this method is how flexible it is. You can move the containers if needed, protect them from heavy rain, and control the soil better than ground planting. Even in the middle of a busy city, you can grow your own food. It shows that no matter where you live, you still have a way to provide for yourself. A lot of folks stay away from growing food because they think it means hard work, digging, turning soil, pulling weeds all day long. But there's a way to grow potatoes that takes much less effort, and it's called the no-dig method. You don't even have to break the ground. You just work with what you already have and let nature do most of the job. Start by picking a flat spot on the ground. It can be grass, dry soil, or even a rough patch that hasn't been used before. Instead of digging, you simply place your potato pieces right on top of the ground with the eyes facing up. Then you cover them with a thick layer of straw, dry leaves, or even grass clippings. This layer should be at least 6 to 8 inches thick. If it's too thin, sunlight can reach the potatoes and turn them green, which you don't want. As the plants begin to grow and push through the straw, you just keep adding more layers on top. This keeps the new potatoes covered and protected. The straw holds moisture in the soil, so you don't have to water as often. In fact, this method can cut your watering needs by a large amount, sometimes nearly half compared to bare soil. It also keeps weeds from growing, because they can't push through the thick cover easily. One thing to watch out for is letting the straw dry out too much. If it feels too dry, give it a light watering. But most of the time, it holds enough moisture on its own. Another benefit is when harvest time comes, you don't have to dig at all. You just lift the straw and pick the potatoes right off the ground. No heavy work, no tools, no damage to the crop. This way of growing shows that farming doesn't have to be hard to be good. You save time, you save effort, and you still get a strong harvest. It's a simple, calm way to grow food, and it fits right into a steady, easy kind of life. Water is one thing a lot of folks worry about, and for good reason. Bills keep rising, and in some places, rain doesn't come when you need it. But potatoes can do just fine with less water if you handle things the right way. It's not about pouring more water. It's about using it smart so none of it goes to waste. First thing you can do is collect rainwater. You don't need anything fancy. A simple barrel, bucket, or even a large container placed under a roof edge can catch water when it rains. That water is soft and good for plants. And best of all, it costs you nothing. Over time, even a few small containers can hold enough to keep your potatoes going through dry days. Next comes mulching, and this makes a big difference. You can use straw, dry leaves, or grass clippings to cover the soil around your plants. This layer helps hold moisture in the ground and keeps the sun from drying it out too fast. In many cases, using mulch can cut your watering needs almost in half. That means less work and less water used, which saves money and effort. Timing also matters more than people think. Water your plants early in the morning or later in the evening. If you water in the middle of the day, the heat pulls the moisture right back into the air before the plant can use it. By watering at the right time, you make sure the soil holds onto the water longer. A simple way to know when to water is to check the soil with your finger. Push it down an inch or two. If it feels dry, go ahead and water. If it still feels damp, leave it alone. One common mistake is watering every day without checking, and that can lead to weak plants or even rot under the soil. Potatoes like steady moisture, not too wet and not too dry. When you get that balance right, they grow strong and steady. This way, even in dry times, you can still grow a good crop without wasting what you have. One of the biggest costs in growing food comes from buying seeds every season, and that's something a lot of folks don't think about at first. But with potatoes, you can break that cycle and grow again and again without spending more money. It all comes down to saving part of your harvest and using it the right way for the next planting. When harvest time comes, don't just pick the biggest potatoes to eat right away. Set aside a few healthy ones that look strong and clean without cuts or soft spots. These will become your seed potatoes for the next season. Keep them in a cool, dark place like a shed, basement, or even a shaded corner indoors. They don't need much, just air and a steady place where they won't get too hot or too wet. After some time, you'll see small sprouts start to grow from the eyes. That's your sign they're ready. When planting season comes around again, you can cut them into pieces just like before, making sure each piece has at least one sprout. This means you don't have to buy anything new. One good harvest can lead to another, and then another after that. Many folks don't realize that a single potato plant can give you several potatoes, and each of those can grow into more plants. Over time, this builds into a steady cycle. You start with a few, and slowly you have enough to plant a whole row or fill many containers, all without extra cost. That's how you move from spending money to saving it. One mistake to avoid is using weak or damaged potatoes for seeds. If they are soft, moldy, or cut too deep, they may not grow well. Always choose the best ones for planting. This keeps your crops strong year after year. This way of growing teaches something simple but powerful. You're not just planting for today, you're planting for tomorrow too. With a little care, your garden can keep going on its own, giving you food season after season without needing much from outside. By now, you can see that growing potatoes does not have to be hard, and it surely does not have to be costly. We walked through simple ways that fit almost any kind of life. You can use a small patch of ground in your backyard, or you can use a bucket if you have no land at all. You can skip digging and let straw do the work for you. Or you can save water by using mulch and rain you collect for free. And maybe the most powerful step of all, you can save your own potatoes and plant them again, turning one harvest into many over time. All of this comes down to simple steps done the right way. Give your plants sunlight, keep the soil loose, water only when needed, and protect the ground so it stays healthy. These are not hard rules to follow, and you don't need special tools or deep knowledge. Even a beginner can start small and still see real results. A few plants can turn into pounds of food, and that can make a real difference in your daily life. What matters most is taking that first step. You don't have to do everything at once. Start with one method, one container, or one small row. Learn as you go. Each season will teach you something new, and each harvest will build your confidence. Over time, you will see that growing your own food is not just about saving money. It gives you peace, a sense of control, and a simple kind of joy that is hard to find anywhere else. So, take what you've learned here and put it into action. Start today, even if it's small, because something as simple as a potato can grow into something much bigger in your life.